rather entertaining weekend, I must say. The Austrian Grand Prix at the Red Bull Ring, the old A1 ring. Anyone remember that? And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We are back. Mid-season break, extended mid-season break for me, as you may have noticed. I was missing the last 2 reviews. We did the mid-season review with Luke the other day, at the start of this week, and then before that, I hadn't done a review after the 2 Grand Prix before that. Busy times, I guess. Gave myself an extended mid-season break without making any videos. But we are back in now. And, I mean, elephant in the room on this one is that the crowds look very low, didn't they? I mean, only on the eye test. I've not actually seen the attendance figures, but on the eye test, it's a bit grim. Some empty grandstands and not many people on the hills lining the circuit, which is a bit of a shame. It is, I mean, it looks like a wonderful place to go and watch racing in terms of its location in the world. And I mean, I don't know the circumstances. I mean, it looks like a hard Grand Prix to probably get to, I want to say. And this has been, I think, affected probably in a big way by Brno coming back onto the calendar. Because when I was at Brno, there was so much German being spoken around me when you're around, you're waiting in line for your beer. You're sitting on the hill and, there's just people talking German all around you. And I did assume it was mostly Austrians because of the proximity of Brno to Vienna, basically. So much easier. Like it's a straight train, one city to the next, basically. So I think it's probably eaten into the crowd size here massively, actually. So keep an eye on that one in future, with Brno being back on the calendar now, and we'll see how that goes. But it is obviously always a shame when you see low attendance numbers anywhere. Similar things happening sort of in the UK at Silverstone as well, with people choosing to either not go altogether or maybe go to BSB or World Superbikes if they're going to events in and around the UK, or even, some of your events over in Northern Ireland or Isle of Man, or choosing to, if you're only going to do one Grand Prix a year, maybe going overseas into the continent. So we hope we get bigger crowds in future, but again, you're hamstrung a little bit by geography there for this one. Now, let's talk about the racing. I mean, mainly I wanted to talk this week. I've got some names written down, just guys who I think the more interesting points that's come out of this weekend and previous weeks, maybe Brno as well. Obviously, the first one is Fermín the Vermin, Aldeguer. Really looking every bit the talent. He looked those last 4 races of, not last season in Moto2, but the one before, when he earned himself this Ducati deal. It looks ominously good. Cracking bit of work by him today. Rider of the day, who votes on that? I mean, I know who votes. We do. But do any of you vote? I don't think I've never done it, but are people into that? Is that something we like? I know it's a thing that's come over from F1, but I mean, do you guys vote on that? Do you do the QR code thing and vote Rider of the Day? Be interested to know how many people are doing it. But yeah, for me, this is looking very, very good. Now, there is always a difference, I think, when you come in as a rookie onto a competitive machine straight away. If he was at Trackhouse, would he be doing what Aldeguer is doing? Is that I know this is a second place and chasing down Marc Marquez at the end, but so it's not quite the same as maybe Agura's dropped off a bit, might not be the best example, but is this Agura in where were we at the start? Thailand, So I always think that's interesting. It gives you a huge leg up if you the company that wants you straight out of Moto2 is the best bike on the grid. It's Ducati rather than Aprilia's after you or KTM's after you or whatever. How much it can do for you. You think about guys coming in next year, talk about, Moreira and stuff now going to Yamaha. And if you don't perform, I mean, but it might not be your fault. I mean, you look at, Raul Fernández survived it. We're going to talk about him next. Raul Fernández survived it, but going into that Tech 3 team that year, they were horrendous. It was a terrible bike, and they couldn't get anything out of it. And, Remy ended up going to World Superbikes off the back of that. Only 1 year in MotoGP, Remy Gardner, and he probably deserved more. His talent could have been like that of some of these guys. But because you're coming in on a non-competitive machine, it really does hamstring you. So I said I was going to mention Raul Fernández. Has he done enough for you now? For me, he has. I think there's definite talent there. I think he's finding something, which is good to see. He's finding something there. So is he one to watch? I think he'll keep his ride. I think they like the idea of keeping consistency at a team like that. Is he contracted anyway? But I mean, if he keeps this up, he's going to warrant himself a new deal when this deal's up. The Aprilia clearing away the second best bike on the grid, which Raul Fernández is sort of showing that now. And just the way that Aldeguer has come in, set the house alight, hit the ground running, and Raul Fernández was looking done for all money, really, wasn't he? Because it was like, mate, he's got a teammate come in as a rookie and put him away. So it's like, that could be him done. What's good here is he's steadied the ship. He's found something. He's now the more dominant rider in the team, which you do expect that from the start with a guy like that, because he has been there a couple of years and Agura's a rookie. But to be like, look, you know what? Chip away, chip away, chip away. He's obviously worked on something with the guys, with the bike. They found something that suits him, and he's quick now, which is good. It's good to see. A respectable top 10 here, and his pace was probably better than that at times. He had a really good sprint yesterday as well. Now, the rest of it I want to talk about, I mean, Pecco's something, but I'll mention briefly, but it's really the same issues he's been having. The issue yesterday in the sprint, severe tyre issue apparently, a dud tyre. I mean, you get that sometimes, I guess. I don't know if it had anything to do with him spinning up off the line, but Aldeguer didn't have the same problem. So, dud tyre, I mean, I don't know. But his issues persist. I don't think it's that noteworthy at this point, because it just is what it is for him. This is what he's getting out of this bike this year. That's it. He does not like the direction they've gone in. It's not good. Not good for him. I could see him dropping behind the likes of Bez in the championship now as well, actually. Now, the rest of the guys I want to mention are all within one manufacturer. It's KTM. And I want to talk Bastianini and Binder mainly. But also Pedro Acosta's there, but we know with Pedro, the talent's there. He just needs the right package underneath him wherever he goes. If he has the bike underneath him, can absolutely challenge on any day, right? Binder, turning point for him in the season. Whatever parts KTM have managed to bring off the back of their issues at the start of the year, and then perhaps the company in a lot of trouble. And now that's been resolved to an extent, as far as I'm aware. And the team has been able to get the updates, bring them to the circuit, get them on the bike, and now we're seeing the fruits of that process. Binder at the front of the field, or at least with a bike underneath of him that he can compete with and fight with guys in the top 5 or 6 or 7 or 8, right, is so entertaining. I mean, it's great for MotoGP, I think, to have Binder in and around what's happening, nearish to the front at least, right? Just so entertaining. The way he rides the bike is so unique. I just love it when he's up there. I just think he's brilliant. Whether he's the quickest guy or not, I don't really care. I like him being on a competitive bike. It makes me happy. All right, because watching him back that thing in, especially at places like this, like long straights into hard braking zones, and he can really get it, stepping out at the rear, and he's aggressive, and he'll scrap with guys and then get off the bike and have a laugh about it. Like, it's brilliant. Another one, Bastianini, is the other one of note that I wanted to mention. Obviously, we can't mention Maverick. I assume Mav, when fit and back on the bike, will be quick on this, because he's been, even when the others weren't quick, he was. So unless they've done something that's gone in a direction he doesn't like, which I doubt, with everyone else being more competitive, I imagine Maverick is going to be quite competitive on this package as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing him back on the bike. Word now is he may miss Hungary as well, with it being a back-to-back turnaround. But I think when he gets back on it, I think he will be competitive enough. So keen to see that. Enea Bastianini is the one we were all worried about, I think. He was the one where you could 100% have seen him Zarcoing this, if you remember back to Zarco at KTM, and just both sides just turn around to each other and go, look, this isn't working, and just move on somewhere else. I think a part of it is there's not really anywhere for Bastianini to go, which is a problem. And also KTM probably wanting to just, in the turmoil of the company that we mentioned earlier, in the turmoil they've been going through, just keep everything as it is. So I think from both sides, it's ended up being a beneficial thing for Bastianini to find a bit of form on this bike. And he was quick in Brno. Unfortunately, chucked it up the road, so didn't get the result in the Grand Prix that he probably could have. Here, 5th. So incredible result. And you think that maybe there was moments during the race where he got punted off the road, he had issues, he got himself with scraps he probably didn't need to be in. Could he have been challenging Pedro for 4th? Probably, yeah. He's ended up a couple of seconds behind him, but without those problems, like I said, gave himself a long lap penalty at one point by accident. So going off at turn one. So, like, you know, he could have been right in there, and he's so strong at the end of races. He's never ever lost that. Even when he was struggling on this bike, he's never lost that thing where he's quick at the end of races. So positive signs for KTM, and that's really, I mean, I'm going to keep it short and sweet this week, try and get through this nice and quickly. That's it for MotoGP. I mean, other than the fact that we have to talk about the All Japan Cup. Okay, and in the All Japan Cup this week, and boy, did he need it more than anyone. Joan Mir, winner of the All Japan Cup this week, 6th on the road, looked fantastic today. I thought he looked great. And you know what? His pace hasn't been that bad, and he's not finished a lot of races recently. And like we have mentioned, most of them, the more recent non-finishes, haven't really been his fault. You know, he's been turfed off the road at times, especially whenever it was, before the end of the break, Brno. Alex Marquez taking him out. So other than that, he has been quick enough and really positive stuff today. I mean, he's finished a long way ahead of next Honda Zarco, 6 seconds back from him. So he was in a class of his own amongst the Japanese manufacturer riders this weekend. Zarco was 2nd, Marini 3rd, Fabio 4th, Rins 5th, Miguel Oliveira 6th, Jack Miller 7th, and we did not have Chantra or anyone replacing him. And while Honda had a decent day, and especially a good day with Mir, boy, was it a struggle for Yamaha this weekend. I mean, we know this circuit didn't suit them, but how was it this bad? Fabio finished 25 seconds off the lead as the lead Yamaha, 5 seconds ahead of Rins, who was 4 seconds ahead of Oliveira, who was 3.5 seconds ahead of Jack Miller. I mean, it's almost one where you'd have been like, is it better to just not come?
I'm going to come.
I mean, they did get a point, so it was worth turning up. Fabio picked up a real World Championship point to go with his 3 All Japan Cup points he's picked up here. Absolutely grim, and they'll be hoping for a lot better next weekend. And we'll see how it goes, because it's a new circuit, so we don't really know what's going to happen. With it being not a high top-end speed circuit, maybe it will suit them, I don't know. Anyway, that leaves your championship like this. Johann Zarco, 69 points. Fabio Quartararo on 2nd, and in the last few weeks where I have not been doing these videos, Fabio's ticked off a few wins and brought himself right back into this fight. So he's on 60 points. Then you got Luca Marini, Mr. Consistent, on 44 points. Joan Mir on 40 points, along with Jack Miller. Alex Rins on 39 points. Miguel Oliveira on 14 points. And then your part-timers and Chantra, 8 points, 8 points, 7 points, 2 points for the next 4 guys. Should we talk fantasy? We haven't updated fantasy for a while. Will it already be updated on the website yet? First time, I think, ever I've made a video this soon after Grand Prix. It literally finished about half an hour ago. Is that most recent race points? It must be. Now, I did make a fatal error this week. I've got Fermín as a silver rider and Alex as a gold rider, and not realizing, obviously, and not remembering that Alex Marquez had a ride through, no, not called that anymore. No, they don't do that anymore. A long lap penalty from Brno. I left it as that. You know, I thought about my team makeup this week, and I thought, you know, and I could have, look, to be honest, I wasn't really concentrating. I could have swapped out Quartararo for someone else this week just to get the points up. So I left a lot of points on the table this week, I've got to say. So let's look at the leagues, because we haven't checked this, like I said, for about 3 races. Let's have a look at the top 10. Kudo Racing. Where's he come from? Or she? Where have you come from? That feels like a newish name in the top 10. Shifty, Moto Timing in 3rd. Rob's flying at the moment. JJD80, R6 Yamaha rider. Have we had them in before? Cam Bonacci, Legends Racing. Range Brothers 93. MotoGP Go Fast. That's one I definitely haven't read out before, I don't think, as a top 10. And Pizza Motorsports. They were in there before, I think, on my last video. Now, interestingly, there is still 3 boosts to be used in this top 10. So it's still right up for grabs. The total points, it is makeable. Yeah, it's all quite tight. So that could really make a difference, as long as you don't go in the complete wrong direction anywhere for these guys that still have boosts. Very interesting, this. And if you're good at like this weekend where I didn't do at going, well, Alex has a penalty, so you'd swap that with Fermín without having to use a trade or use a trade. You get 2 trades every week. Use a trade to bring someone else that you might think might be competitive in. And then maybe knowing that Fabio was going to be poor, you could have swapped that out for someone else. If you're clever like this, like I wasn't, you will see huge benefit around the people around you, because most of them are set and forget, aren't they, at the point during the season. Now let's talk Moto 2. This had potential to be really fun. It was a bit of procession in the end, but you know, with David Alonso, looked like he had plenty of pace. I thought we were going to get a grandstand finish. He was pushing a little too hard. He's crashed in the end, but you know, you get that with the kids sometimes. Some drama early. So while Jake Dixon and Joe Roberts were getting punted off through the little makeshift chicane, ending their race effectively, Senna Aegis was apparently high-siding on the exit. Now, I couldn't get a good look at this, and when they showed the replays, it was very hard to see what was happening because I kept looking in the wrong part of the group to see where it might be. So I kept looking, maybe I was like looking in the middle of the group, and then I was like, oh, actually, when they showed the replay, or actually I was watching Roberts and Dixon go off, going, oh yeah, it's that, and I wasn't looking, and I only saw the aftermath of it. And then when they showed another replay of it from a different angle, I was like trying to find Senna in the group. I couldn't spot him, and I was looking around where I thought when you high side out of that corner where it would usually be, and it was further up than that. So I wasn't sure. And then there was a bit of other riders around him, and I don't know if it felt like it was just a pure high side or if he was helped in some way. I'd not seen it. Someone please tell me what happened. Every time I watched the replay, I couldn't find where the incident, and then by the time your eye goes to it, it was already over. But then they showed the replay twice, I think, from 2 different angles. And the first one I was just watching, like I said, Roberts and Dixon go off, and I forgot that it was the same incident. Well, not the same incident, but it was in the same corner. But yeah, this was fun for a while, and then it got a bit boring, but it was fine just watching these young guys. I mean, a lot of the rookies had a good day today. Herrera, Olgado, Alonso was good for a period, obviously. Ortola, I think Via, even Guevara. I know a couple of these aren't still rookies, but, you know, young guys. They all sort of showed themselves a little bit today, didn't they? Now, the big story from this one was Manu Gonzalez, which in the end, it's not hurt him too badly because his closest rival, Canet, just was not at the races today. So he only finished 11th, I want to say, 10th. So not a huge loss for Manu there, but I think they said a stone in the radiator. And I'm wondering if that came out of either the Senna incident where he's kicked some gravel back onto the road, or was there something that happened early? Someone went across the gravel there as well. I wonder if it was Dixon and Roberts, but they went through the little makeshift off-road with the chicane in it, with the barriers. You know the one I'm talking about. But I don't know if they went in the gravel as well at some point during that, and maybe they've brought something back on. But he's ended up with a stone in the radiator. It's killed the bike. And he had the pace to win today, I think, even though his start wasn't amazing. But he was going to be there or thereabouts. Now, Moto3 was really fun. This was great. This was absolutely great. Piqueras has won it. It's hard for me to recap what happened here because so much happened in that last, I want to say 2 laps, that I'm still piecing it together in my head. So the break group of 4 ended up somehow getting caught by the chase group of quite a few, which contained everyone you didn't want to be catching you if you're that lead group. We're talking Munoz, we're talking Furusato, we're talking Adrian Fernandez. You don't want them anywhere near you trying to win a race. And David Munoz did his thing and just thought, first time of asking, sent 2 guys into the nether realms. Just straight up the inside and not dirty enough. Not dirty enough to warrant any kind of penalty, but it was cheeky. Oh, I forgot to mention in that chase group was your World Championship leader, Jose Antonio Rueda. So that's also someone you don't want competing with you, but he's ended up 5th in the end. But anyway, when it all came out in the wash, when it all went in and then cycled about and came out the other side and you're missing a sock that you're sure you just put in there, Piqueras has won it anyway. But Yamanaka somehow ended up, I mean, it is the 2 guys that were in the lead group that still ended up top 2. But David Munoz got a podium. Max Quiles 4th. He's one that got sent out to the middle of nowhere by the Munoz pass, I'm pretty sure, and recovered to 4th. Furusato was a victim of wrong place, wrong time as well. Ended up 6th. Perrone was the big loser from the lead group. He's ended up 7th only. When again, he looked like he had almost the most tyre left coming into the end and probably needed to try and find a way to stay in the top 2 even when the other boys arrived, just to make sure you don't get caught up in anything. But this was great, really entertaining. I've got to say, just like usual, I really enjoyed this race. Little shout out, young lad, O'Gorman, the young Irish lad, riding now for the Sitch 58 Squadra course, the Simoncelli team. It's good to see an Irishman in there, isn't it? And I think it's only his first race because he's only just turned 17. Am I right in saying that? Well, what's the minimum age? 17? I think that's why it's only his first race now. And I think that's why he's only just come in. I could be wrong. But it's his first race today. So hopefully there's a talent there. We just, desperately, this part of the world needs someone to support in MotoGP. Someone. And you know what? I'm telling you, the Englishmen are taking an Irishman at this point. Just someone they can go, yeah, well, at least he's just from across the sea there. That's basically us. It's a joke, guys. I don't want any Irish people in there getting angry at me. I know what's happening there, right? Okay, so that's it. We're off to Hungary for the first time. I don't want to say ever, because to be honest, I don't know if that's the case. But it's definitely the first time to the Balaton Park, which already somehow does not look fit for purpose. I mean, Superbikes were there the other week. We're hearing things that MotoGP bikes won't even get into 5th gear. How long this will be on the calendar, I'm very skeptical. However, what does make, and we'll only see when we see the racing. I mean, why you'd build a new circuit, because this is a new circuit as far as I know. Why you'd build a new circuit, specifically with the intention of getting maybe MotoGP as your big series that's there, because you're never getting the Hungary ring, are you? You're not getting the F1s. Too historic of a Grand Prix now, as dull as it is. Why you'd build it that makes, in a way that's just like, MotoGP isn't that good there. Like, you've built like the Saxon ring, you know what I mean? These little circuits that are like, people are like, well, can we still race there? It could be great. We don't know. But what I will say is when countries like Hungary, I 100% prefer this to like, Qatar's. I know Qatar's different now because it's got, I actually really like the circuit in La Salle. And it's become, over the 20 years or so that it's had the race, it's become like a bit of a staple on the calendar, hasn't it, with the night race and all that. It is great, but when European countries or Asian countries and stuff have Grand Prix, it's just infinitely better than, parts of the world where there's just no atmosphere at these places. And then for us around Europe, if you're the UK or Europe or you're from not far away, getting into like Eastern Europe for a Grand Prix or Central Europe is like the single greatest thing. Your money goes a long way. You have a good time. The food's incredible. Get yourself a cheap pint. Some nice Eastern European wine, orange wine or some shit like that, some natty thing. Good coffee. I noticed when I went to Budapest last time, the coffee was pretty good. These places are great to go. Way, way better than some places that are hard to get. In fact, I don't know where this Balaton Park is, but if it's accessible comfortably from Budapest, then 100%. Like we talk with Spielberg here, it's not easy to get to. I prefer maybe a lesser circuit in a place that's good for fans to get to. It's all about getting people there, really, for me. I've digressed long enough. I'll see you next week. Catch up.